today's topic will be surface chemistry, one of the chapter belonging to physical chemistry. So let's have a quick review of this chapter. Basically, surface chemistry means the branch of chemistry which deals with the phenomenon happening on the surface of any object. Basically, this chapter includes three categories: adsorption, catalysis and colloids. So let us consider one by one and let's have a quick review of them. So basically, what do you mean by adsorption? I just want to give one best example. I think when we were small or when we were young, we used to use blotting pen. So when ink used to not supply properly, we used to just shake the pen and the ink used to drop on the bench or the paper. When we used to not have blotting paper, we used to make use of the chalk piece and just roll on the ink. And that ink used to be sucked up by the chalk piece. But when we break that chalk piece into pieces or into two pieces, we can make out that the surface only has a ink mark, whereas the bulk of the chalk piece do not have the mark of ink. This is one of the best example of adsorption. So how we can define adsorption as? Adsorption is a phenomenon in which the particles such as solid, liquid or gases gets accumulated on the surface of the another particles. And the forces which are involved in this is the weak molecular forces known as van der Waals forces. Adsorption, the force of attraction here is van der Waals forces. Adsorption is having two components. One is known as adsorbate, another one is known as adsorbent. So, components of adsorptions are adsorbate and adsorbent. Generally, we have a confusion between adsorption and absorption. So we can define adsorption as the surface phenomenon, where absorption as the bulk phenomenon. In adsorption, the concentration takes place only at the surface, whereas in the absorption, the substance is uniformly distributed within itself and it forms the bulk. And that is the difference between adsorption and absorption. But there are phenomena where absorption and adsorption together it will happen, and such type of processes are known as sorption. Adsorption plus absorption together it is termed as sorption. In general, we will be discussing about the adsorption of gas molecules or liquid molecules on the surface of solid molecules. Apart from this, the adsorption of gases on the surface of meats, they are called as occlusion. The adsorption of gases on meats are called as occlusion. This is a brief introduction to the topic adsorption. Now let us learn about the categories of adsorption. The types of adsorptions are physisorption or physical adsorption. Second one, chemisorption or chemical adsorption. These are the two types of adsorption. First one is physisorption. Second one is chemisorption. Physisorption can be defined as it's an adsorption between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, which includes the weak van der Waals forces. Whereas in chemisorption, the force of attraction is very strong between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Hence, in physisorption, multimolecular layers are adsorbed, whereas in chemisorption, unimolecular layers are adsorbed due to the force of attraction. Apart from this, temperature, pressure also plays an important role. When we come to the physisorption, with increase in the temperature, the adsorption decreases because the weak intermolecular force of attraction breaks down faster. Whereas in chemisorption, with increase in temperature initially, adsorption also increases. Apart from this point, we can also note down that in physisorption, the enthalpy change, that means the amount of heat which is liberated is little bit, that is 20 to 30 kilojoules per mole. So let us differentiate them and write down the points. We can learn this as a difference. In physisorption, the force which is involved is van der Waals force, whereas in chemisorption, the force of attraction is strong chemical bond. The second difference is physisorption forms multimolecular layer adsorption, whereas in chemisorption it forms unimolecular layer. Third one, low temperature is favored, whereas here in chemisorption high temperature is favored. And the fourth one, physisorption can be reversible, and in chemisorption, obviously it's the reverse, it is irreversible. This is the difference between physisorption and chemisorption.
Dear friends, ನೀವು ದೀವಿಗೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಹೇಳಿ, ಇದೇ ಥರ 100 ವಿಡಿಯೋಸನ್ನು ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ.